Hey, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and in today's bass guitar lesson we're going to be taking apart the Eric Clapton version of the old blues tune Before You Accuse Me and showing you how to split this into 3 simple ideas. If this sounds good, please check this lesson out all the way to the end. Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and in today's bass guitar lesson we're going to be taking apart the old blues tune Before You Accuse Me. This was originally a track by Bo Diddley from the 1950s, but Eric Clapton sort of revitalized it in the late 80s, early 90s on his Journeyman album, and this was a massive influence to me when I was first starting out. I believe understanding blues is a really important component of learning the bass guitar, because what you can discover, the blues sequence which we're going to talk about today is covered in so many different genres of music. So even if you're not specifically a blues fan, you're going to discover it in genres such as rock, through to funk, through to jazz, through to R&B. The list goes on and on and on. You'll find these 12 bars in this particular sequence in various different formats all over the place, so it really is worth understanding. You also find a bunch of valuable skills such as understanding chord sequences, structure, transposition, how to play in different feels and styles within the blues genre. So there is so much in this. But before we get going, all of the contents of this lesson is written out in a free PDF that comes with this. Just click the link below and you'll get everything that we're going to discuss, both in standard notation and tab. So today we're going to be looking at the Eric Clapton version of this tune. So before we talk about the specifics, let me play it to you so you can hear what it sounds like in its most basic form. So what we have here is a standard 12-bar blues with a quick 4 change. So I'm going to explain what that means in just a second, but there is a little quirk to this track, and that is you have the guitar solo and then there is an extra bar, just this random little extra bar, then the 12-bar sequence starts. And then for the rest of the track, the 12 bars sequences stay just the same. So make sure you watch out for that. So in blues, we have 3 chords. It's very simple and very straightforward. We have chord 1 here, which is going to be our E. And then we have chord 4 here, which is going to be our A. And then we have chord 5 here, which is going to be our B. So we end up with these 3 chords, chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. And this is what makes up the blues sequence. If you're not familiar with the Roman numeral system right now, don't worry about it. Just think about the chords E, A, and B, and you'll be absolutely fine. So how this sequence works is we start off with a bar of E, and then we go to a bar of A, like this, and then back to 2 bars of E. And then bar 5 of the sequence is an A, and then bar 6 of the sequence is also an A, and then we go back to 2 bars of E, like this, and then we go to a bar of B, and then a bar of A, and then a bar of E, and then a bar of B. So let me put that in time and play it to you without the track so you can hear it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, E to A to 2 bars of E, then to 2 bars of A to 2 bars of E to bar E to A to E to B. Now, believe it or not, what I was doing there by just playing 4 notes per bar, it's a perfectly acceptable blues bass line that you could use for this track. Later in the lesson, I'm going to split it into 3 ideas, but what I want to do is just play it for you using 4 notes per bar and just listen how this works. So that is literally all you need to know to get going playing a really simple and foundational bass line for Before You Accuse Me. And that's one of the reasons I recommend to all of my students learn blues, because it's so simple and so quick to get going playing. But the chances are you're going to want to push this forward a little bit. Now, the original track has the great Nathan East, and he is coming up with a ton of interesting and inventive ideas. And sometimes the challenge can be, well, which idea do I focus on? So what I've done now is I've broken this down into 3 core ideas, and if I was to play this on a gig, these would be the 3 ideas that I would focus on to play this song. So the first thing I'm looking for when I play a tune like Before You Accuse Me is a simple riff or repeated pattern that I can play across the whole of the blues sequence to begin with. Now, Nathan plays a ton of different ideas in here, but for me, it always pulls back to this one idea that I'm going to play for you now. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's take that idea apart. The first thing I've done is I've taken the open E and stuck it up an octave here. So that is fret 7 on the A string. And what we're going to do is we're going to bum, bum. So 2 E's to begin with, dum, bum, like that. And then we are going to go to the G on the first finger there, and then the G sharp. So boom, boom, da, dum. And we have this effect of going from the minor third to the major third. So we are mixing minor and major together, which is a real standard trick in blues, and it gives that blues sound. It is such a standard idea to use, so really do internalize that idea. So let's play it. And then we go back to the E, so. And then on beat 4 of the bar, we go down to the flattened 7th, which is the D. Now, this minor to major third, you could either hammer it on like I'm doing, or you could slide. The choice is absolutely yours. Now, this is a riff or a pattern that you can now move through the other chords. Let me show you how. So we take this idea, it starts on the 4th finger, and now we're going to move it to the A, which is at the 5th fret on the E string. And we can just take exactly the same shape. Then we can take it to the B, which is at the 7th fret on the E string. Then down to the A. Now I'm just moving that shape around. If you want to see this written out, make sure you check out the PDF which comes with this lesson. So what I want to do is show you what this sounds like with the track, so you can hear how this simple device can be moved through all 3 of the chords in the blues sequence. So that was idea one. That one simple riff will work across the whole of the blues sequence. Let's integrate the second idea that I'd be looking for. And in the blues context, there is a very important element to the blues, which is the last two bars of it, bar 11 and bar 12. And what we often put there is a thing called a turnaround. And this has a very, very distinctive turnaround, which I'm going to play for you now. And you'll hear this time and time again in blues music. So this is starting on bar 11 on the E, and we end up with this descending sequence. So let me play it to you. And then the sequence restarts again. So let me go through each note slowly for you. So we're going to start on an E, there, or you could play it there, because you use the same E there, it doesn't really matter. So E, D, C sharp, C natural, and then we have this rhythm here, da ba ba bam, and literally that is a chromatic idea. So we start with the B, and then we go to an open A sharp, B, ba 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 bam, and then just hold that for the rest of the bar. So play that a few times in isolation so you can really get comfortable with it. On the demonstrations I've done on this track earlier in this lesson, you might have also noticed me putting 3 notes directly on the front of the track. And this is directly related to the turnaround which we just discussed. So let me play the turnaround. Like that. Now those 3 notes I'm putting on the front of it are the last 3 notes of the turnaround, which are just A sharp, B. So what we have is this guitar intro, which sounds a little bit like this. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba da ba. So when you look at the PDF which comes with this lesson, just look at how those first 3 notes relate directly to the last 3 notes of the turnaround. So what I'm going to do now is demonstrate the track so you can hear the 3 notes right at the very beginning. You can hear the riff that we discussed in idea 1, and then we can hear the turnaround, which is idea 2, which goes over the last 2 bars of the sequence, which is bars 11 and 12. So whenever I learn a bass line, I'm always looking for something that adds a little bit of spice or nuance to the track. And there is a line that Nathan East plays in this in unison with the whole band, which is going to be idea number 3. Unison means everybody plays it together. Now this is quite challenging, so I encourage you to take it slowly to begin with. On bar 10 of each sequence, they play this unison line. I'm going to play it to you. First of all fast, and then we're going to break it down. So it sounds like this. And again. So to break it down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it in half to begin with, and it sounds like this. So that is 2 A's, and then we go from a C sharp, a C to a C sharp, and then to an E, and then we're going to land on a G on our 4th finger. Now that is the first half of the phrase. Now let's look at the second half of it, which is going to be G, E, G, like that, and then back down to the E, which is E, C sharp, E, landing on the E at the beginning of the next bar to play the turnaround. So let's hear what idea 3 sounds like in context. guys, don't forget to take that bass line slowly to begin with. I also encourage you to experiment with some different fingerings too. That's the fingering that I found worked best for me. If you're enjoying this lesson, don't forget to check out the Rookie Blues Bass Intensive over at eBassGuitar.com. That is a full step-by-step blues bass guitar course, taking you right from playing your very first notes, covering everything that you need to know to play at a blues jam session. So make sure you check that out over at eBassGuitar.com. To finish this lesson off, I want to give you one more bonus idea that I heard Nathan East playing later on in the track, which I thought was really, really cool. And then I'm going to have a jam over the whole tune so that you can hear the sort of ideas that I would naturally play if I was to get given this song on a gig. So let's talk about the bonus idea to begin with. This is a classic box shape stuff, but what he's done is he's fused it with the minor major bluesy idea that we discussed in the main riff earlier. So what he does is this great idea here, which is there are a bunch of different ways you can finger it. You could actually, I think I prefer that way of fingering, but do experiment with different fingering because you may find a different way of playing it suits you. So let's take this bass line apart. It is classic box shaped stuff, so it starts off with two E's and then up to the E octave, and then down to that flat 7, which is another great blues note. And then we get the minor third, which is a G natural on the A string, and then a G sharp, and then we end up with a B there at the end. Like that, and I would hammer the G to the G sharp, like that. And then let's move it into the A. And you can hear that will work across the whole of the blues sequence, so do try experimenting with that. Now to wrap up the lesson, I'm going to have some fun and jam over the whole piece. Listen out for all of the various ideas and the bonus idea that we've discussed today. So guys, that's the end of today's blues bass guitar lesson. If you've enjoyed this lesson, please give it a like and share on social. Don't forget, you can grab the full PDF with standard notation and tab over at eBassGuitar.com. There's a link in the description below. And if you've enjoyed the content of this lesson, make sure you check out the Rookie Blues Bass Intensive 2 over at eBassGuitar for a full step-by-step rundown of how to play blues bass guitar. I've been James from eBassGuitar, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers for now.